size, all those things, discussions happen in design. During design, they have to create items. To build the car, they need items, right? So they will design, they will draw, they will make it in AutoCAD or SolidWorks in somewhere, some software, and they draft it. And like how door size would be, how engine capacity. So all those things, they will start creating the items, okay? And also they will keep purchase the items and they will start building the car. Let us say it is a prototype, okay? It is in design phase. So in design phase itself, they will create the item, they will everything like in color and everything, they will make it, and they will build rough bills of material. It means some items may add, afterwards they will decide that this is not right item, we can remove that item and add new item. They will make lot of changes and they will create items and build the bills of material, okay? And once they finalize the design, they will do all brake test, vibration test and everything, and they will finalize it and move it to the manufacturing. It means this model is designed, it's finalized, approved, and moved to manufacturing. Manufacturing will, they load the forecast and they will start building based on like they'll expect like we may have a good business next 1 year or something like that, and based on assumptions they will start manufacturing the cars. In that they will have firm bills of material because design was frozen. So list of items, which is bills of material, and how much manpower required to be manufacturing this car, like what are all the equipments to be used, and cost involved in it. Like all those things comes into the manufacturing, where they will keep creating the items, build it, and assign the cost of each item, and they start creating the buy it, and then transfer it to the manufacturing, and they will create the work definition followed by work order. This is how process, typical manufacturing process will be there even in for any product. So why I'm telling here, while creating items or BOM structure, we may have different what is the manufacturing, all those things. So during like discussions in item or item structure, again we will read. Okay, Bonnie, do okay.
I'm following you.
Okay, so now let me open. I have high level PPT. So just we'll discuss what is the agenda, like what topics we are going to cover in this session. Okay. Okay, today agenda is like these are the topics we are going to discuss in order to definition and attributes to be assigned to the item, and then product structure. Product structure in the sense bills of material. In business, we will use the bills of material. Even in Oracle EBS, we will use the bills of material. But in Fusion, we named it as, Oracle named it as the product structure. Okay, and product definition and product structure will be in product information management. That is PIM. It is a separate application in Fusion. Like earlier, item definition will be in inventory and bills of material is a separate application. And then manufacturing, we have two sessions, that is work definition and work execution. Definition means to build the recipe, add operation requirements. Okay, first part we are going to discuss about product definition and structure.
Yeah, go on. I'm muted myself, so if I have to unmute, then I will stop you in between, if
Sure.
that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, in product definition, we're just discussing about items. Like item means what? Okay, and create items. How we can able to create items and manage items. It means like going forward, update your specifications, and if there are any changes, those things will comes under like manage items and browse items. You may need to see like based on your item class, based on your range of items, you can browse those items. And finally, create item structure, how you can able to build the item structure. Okay, in this we are also going to discuss about how we can able to assign the items to the people and organizations.
Can I ask you something, Ram, please?
Sure, sure.
Okay. When we create items and we create items, we manage items, and within those two, that is master items, isn't it?
Right.
Okay. So do we define the attributes there? Oh,
Yeah.
so what? Okay.
During
So
create items, yeah, during create items itself, there are different tabs where specifications, which is item attributes.
okay.
Item
So
attributes there we used in EBS, but here in Fusion we are using specifications.
oh, you can completely forget the EBS side because I haven't got any pre-experience in EBS other than working in finance. So you can completely ignore me with the EBS side. You can
Okay.
really go with the Fusion. So what my next question is, so when we create items, this Oracle says that if there is a match between two items, for example, the material number is same, although we call the items differently, so does the supply will be different, but the original material part number or material number will be the same. Does the system flag you with that it's a match or something like that? Or I mean, the system will
No,
flag
ideally system will not accept duplicate. Okay.
duplicates. Okay. Do
System
we
says
need to tell the system what are the attributes going to be matching to find it as a duplicate, or does the system has its own rule?
a system has its own rule to define that item numbers should not be the same. Okay,
Okay.
specifications may be same, but item name number itself is should not be the same.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And introduction to items, it means item may be, it may be physical thing or like service or anything. Maybe like if you say painting, it should be as an item. Okay, and if you have a nut, bolt, or something like that, those should be items. It means physical product as well as service is called it as an item.
You
Okay,
can call it as a service or process items, isn't it?
right.
Process. Yeah.
Yeah, and so each item have like standard operational attributes along with all specifications. Like each functional area will have its own specifications. Like purchasing will have some specifications, whether it is purchasable or not, what is the lead times, what is the list price, all those things. And inventory management, whether it is inventory and a transactable item or not, all those things will be covered in. All these functional areas will have the separate specifications. Okay, so create item, like once you enter to the create item, it will navigate to the master organization. Okay, first you should able to create the item in master organization only. During creation of organization, we should tag it as a master organization. When you try to create item, it will show you only master organizations. If you have more than one master organization, you can able to see it in LOE. Select the master organization which you require, and then select the root item class. See here, root item class consists of templates and what is this phase. All these things will be available in item class. When you create item, if you assign the item class, that item class has some predefined templates, and like all those values will be copied to this item. Okay, this is for like you can create your own item class, number of item classes based on your business requirement. But Oracle is provided by default, that is root item class. Okay, and then once you created the item, save it, and then you can associate this item to the organization. Like you may have child organizations. This item by default will be assigned to the master organization because we selected the master organization. That is a standard functionality. Now, this item to be available required child organizations. You may have organization in London. You may have organization in some India, somewhere like that. And if you want to be available this item in some particular organization, you need to assign. So till the time this item is not available in that organization. And then finally, save and close. So typically a create item screen will looks like this initially. Once you create the task, create item, this organization will be a master organization. Create a new. So there are two options, like create a new or create from copy. When you say create from copy, it will take it from the existing item. It will copy all values which are lying with that item will be copied here. And then item class. Here you can have your own item class. Item class also we are going to discuss. Item class has its own templates and everything. Those things will populate here. So here, these are all the templates like ATO item, PTO option class, all this purchased item, subassembly and everything. Here, you can able to select the whether it is purchased item or subassembly. I think, let me explain you like what is the purchased item, what is subassembly. Like subassembly, like which has the bills of material, will have the number of components in it, and purchased item is the buy item. Okay, once you select the template as a purchased item, this item becomes the buy item. Okay, next slide in this creative, once you click on OK, those things will be copied and next screen will comes here. Here you enter your item number, name or whatever. It is alphanumeric.
Ram, before we go ahead, can I ask you something, please?
Yeah.
For the subassembly item, do we need to define it as a subassembly or can we do it on the item structure? So in the item structure, you putting A and B, two bills of materials and making C, and you consuming C. So the C is a subassembly, and then consuming C and D to make another item E. So in this situation, do we need to tell C as a subassembly in the master item then?
Yep. So otherwise, how you can able to identify that whether this is it has the
purchase item. Okay.
No. Okay.
All right.
Like,
okay.
Yeah, if you take like a door assembly as a one subassembly, engine has one subassembly, like seats will have one subassembly, like that. Okay, all these subassemblies put together is a finished goods, right? So if you take ATO item is always like finished goods. So that is this is for like identification. Even for buy item, you can create the item structure, but ideally, so that the case, your parent item itself is a buy item. Even it has the bills of material, it will not become a subassembly. So subassembly should have a proper BOM. Even buy item has the BOM, but the significance entirely changed.
Okay, so actually, are we creating item as a master item, or are we creating here it as a BOM?
No, initially we are creating it as a item.
Master item.
It's a master item.
Master item. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the danger if we don't define one item as a subassembly item, but we're creating everything as a purchased item, purchase item?
Say again. Sorry.
What will be the danger if we create all the items as a purchase item? So we have like A, B, C, and C is actually a subassembly, but we actually creating as a master item, just a purchase item. We're not defining C as a subassembly.
System will not stop you. Even let us say C item as a buy item. You define it as a purchased item, but still you have an item structure as A and B. It will take.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But system will not stop you. But by looking at it, you may not identify whether it is a buy item or subassembly. When it goes to manufacturing, if you say C item as a buy item, it will not look at A and B, since it is a direct buy item. Some items you will have complete assembly as a buy item.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you. So when you execute the work order, so
Right.
no, in the work definition, you got A and B. So there is a disconnect then,
Correct.
because C is a buy item. So there will be this. So when you go to the costing, it doesn't cost it in line with it, isn't it?
Right.
Because all right, okay, I'm with you now. Thank
But
you.
during item creation, it will not stop you. It's a user item type will be, you can change even later also.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. This is for like a reporting, like how you can able to identify whether it is subassembly or purchased item.
Yeah.
Okay. When you look at the tabs in your like bottom, like overview, specifications, item, people, structures, attachments. Let me brief you about it. Overview means it will give you like main. You will have like a unit of measure, like all these common some attributes. And sorry, DFFs will be there. And when it comes to specifications, all these functional areas will be there: purchasing, inventory, lead
DFS
times.
is a descriptive flex field, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And all these functional areas will be there under the specifications, which will have the item attributes.
Sure.
And then item people. This item will be assigned to like whether it is all employees, buyers. It's kind of a security, like these items should be available for sales or not, like that. Okay, here we are going to give that if you give the buyer, this item can be added for the buyer, so they can able to view this item.
Okay.
And next step is structures. This is where we are going to define the bills of material.
Bill of materials, yeah.
Okay? In item itself. Then attachments. You can add any attachment. So if you have any subassembly, if you have a drawing, okay, like assemble drawing or whatever, so you can attach here. Whenever you are opening the item and browsing that item, if you want to look at this specification, sometimes specification in the sense length, width, breadth, or something like that will be there, right? Those details can be uploaded as attachments.
Okay.
And then
any kind of guidance, isn't it?
Right. Some instructions, SOP.
Instructions, yeah.
Operating procedures.
Standard operation
added.
procedures.
Okay, and then associations. This tab signifies to associate this item to the organizations, child organizations. Okay.
Okay, that's something I missed when you are going through. So when we create an item, it's actually going to the master org.
Right.
So if you have like 10 child org, I want that item to be on all the items which I'm putting on the master org want to be on all the 10 orgs. I can configure it, isn't it?
Right. Here we need to add select and add for all organizations.
Okay. Or if you do a mass upload or something, you need to put everything, repeat it. Okay. All right. Okay.
And then relationships. Okay. In relationships, supplier item, customer item relationship, some cross references. So this item may be replaced with, there is item A and item Z. So these two items may be in functionally it is same. When item A is not available, item Z can be used. This kind of substitute relationship kind of things can be
optional
given.
Optional items then. Okay, so that optional items is defined here only, isn't it?
No, not like that. So in relationship, this item has to be like as a substitute to some other item, and this item is equal to supplier item. Sometimes, supplier will call item as S, but same item we will define in our system as item.
Yeah.
Okay. So supplier will deliver that item as a S, but system will not accept inside because our system showing a C.
Okay.
So if you build this relationship, system will accept it.
All right. That's the relationship here. All right.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, and then categories. You can have inventory category, purchasing category, planning category. All those things, categories can be assigned here. Okay. So once you assign all, you have given all these values in these tabs. So now individually, or you means unit of measure details, like if there is any conversion, all those details will be here. And you can have long description. So our description will be limited to 250 characters. Now here you can add nearly 1,000 characters here.
Okay.
Okay. This is specifications tab. Here, transactional attributes and additional attributes means which I'm talking about, like DFFs, what we can have, you can add there. Okay, and whether it is transactable or not, you can give in here. Now, in specifications, we are in manufacturing tab. Here, whether this structure item type is standard or ATO or model, something like that, you can give. All these specifications that belongs to manufacturing, you look at it, whether this is a configured item or not, what is the base model linked to this item, whether this can be auto-created configuration or not. If you look at all this, even costing comes into manufacturing and WIP. If you say here WIP, in built-in WIP, yes, then only you can able to look at it in your work definition. Otherwise, it will not be available there. Okay, costing enabled. If you say costing enabled yes, so this item can be costed. Okay, you can roll up into your manufacturing item. Okay, all these specifications can be set up. And then next is like inventory. Here, whether this is inventory item or not, means you can keep the on hand or not, stocked. And transaction enabled. If you are not set up as a transaction, you cannot transact it, just like that. And reservable. So if you say reservable, and your sales order can be reserved automatically. If you say no, it will not be reserved automatically, still you can transact it. And lot details, like if this item is enabled as a lot or not. If you say lot control, you need to enable control. And lot expiration, you know, some items in maybe even in this organization also, some kind of hazardous items will have the shelf life days, expiry dates. So those things will be assigned here. If you set up a shelf life days like 20 days, after that given date, like today it has been received into the system, after 20 days, it is not eligible for any transactions, since it is a shelf life days. Such kind of all these item level, inventory level specifications to be assigned here.
So that lot number will be from the supplier then.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. And yeah.
Okay. But on the production side also, we do the lot and the serialization, isn't it?
Right.
Okay.
So it's all like
different.
That's
different.
From item level. Yep.
Okay. This is for the stock planning part. This lot number and the expiry dates.
Correct.
Okay.
And this tab is for planning. Actually, I skipped like physical attributes and sales and order management. Okay. This is like planning, whether this item can be planned in inventory level or supply chain planning level. I mean, planning center level. So MRP or inventory planning, like we can give here. And when you want to plan this item automatically from the planning central, you need to give the planner also here. And make or buy. Here, this is a very important field here. Even here, user item type you selected as a sub-assembly, still you can make, if you make it buy, it is definitely it is a buy only. Even item type showing sub-assembly, since this maker buy is equal to buy, it is always can be purchased only. You cannot manufacture it.
You cannot manufacture it.
Yeah, it is make means manufacturing, and buy means it is purchasable.
Okay.
This field importance is everywhere.
Okay.
And also like you can also set minimax level. So
So that's
if
the
you suppose,
planning attribute, isn't it? So
right,
minimum
right,
quantity and the maximum quantity.
there are like one-time setups for each item.
Okay.
Okay, so usually like we are discussing about item definition, but when you look at any project, it will be mass loading, right? All these
Mouse
items.
loading. That's what I was thinking. So all these attributes, how we going to upload it, and unless I see the template. So I'm hoping we'll come to there. Come to that part later.
Among all templates, item template is 13 tabs altogether. All
13
13
tabs.
tabs. All these fields will be available.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, when you go to everyday process, this is a very complex template actually.
Okay.
Okay, which will have
I'm
a lot
just
of things.
surprised that the only template I have given for items are like the unit of measure, the item number, and the description. That's all. That's the three columns we are updating along with the business unit name, where the business or the number, unit number, item number, unit of measure, and description. That's all we are updating it. I'm just surprised with the when we're going all these things.
Okay. What about other things like see? I think you may have standard like root item root class, which will
Mhm.
have the templates. So yeah, are you identifying whether that item is a buy item or make item, something like that?
No,
You're also
no. That's what I was thinking. When you gone through that, I understood that we're not actually identifying or separating them as buy item or make item. So
but
that's
how this
why.
yeah.
So that could be one reason where because I heard that the costing side they're not getting it right, and that could be the reason the costing is not right.
See,
So that's why
basically, yeah, from business, you may not able to provide all those fields, like more than 250 fields will be there. Okay.
mm,
But you can give like this is the item number, item description that is unique. Anyway, you're giving and unit
mm,
of measure you're mentioning. And you also should mention whether this is a subassembly or make or buy. Some measure, at least 13 fields has to be provided. Based on that, if you say buy item, at least
mm,
I can choose purchase template, okay,
mm,
which has the standard specifications in it. And if you
okay.
say subassembly, I can have separate template which can be used. But even
Mm,
if you are not giving, we are not segregating like whether buy item or make item, that could be maybe confusion.
okay.
I'm not sure like what kind of concept you are using in order to load into the system.
Mm.
But ideally, you need to business has to provide minimum these details. Those details are mandatory.
But
Whether
in
this
order
is more
for the business
standard,
to provide, someone has to ask the business. These are the details we require.
right,
Nobody asked
right,
that details actually. It's
correct,
interesting actually. Yeah,
correct.
good.
Okay.
Mm,
And these are all very, very important. In any project you take,
mm,
item definition part is very important. The template, everybody concentrate on that item because this item can be used by sales team, manufacturing team, and purchasing team. All those teams, like a sales order team, all those teams should be involved in it and finalize the template. That is how happens in any project.
mm.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, and then MRP planning, it is continued to the same tab only. So here, how MRP planning will be considered this item. Okay, all these time frames, controls, and everything has to be given here. Whether
Mm.
this item will to be included in ATP or not. ATP means available to promise.
ATP.
Yeah, available to promise.
What does
Okay.
that mean? Available to promise means?
It means it is basically used by all sales. Okay, sales in the sense order management team. It
Okay.
means when you book the order, so there is a finished goods. When you book the order on sales order,
Hmm.
planning will consider that item, look at it, its BOM, and look at it, these components, whether they are available in inventory or not, when can we purchase them, when can we manufacturing finally, and to build the finished product. So system will calculate all these dates and look at the availability and give you one promise date, that is a scheduled ship date.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
For
anyway,
this,
I'm asking something really in advance. Just it strike to my mind. So in on the manufacturing side, I know you will come back to that. What I'm asking later on. I'm just quickly asking the sequence. Is that one of the planning attributes? The item sequence number. You know, the sequence you put like 10, 20, 30 when you put the items. Is that used for the planning purpose by the system to calculate the lead time?
where do you put that sequence?
In the work definition, we put it. So,
No,
for example,
no,
if we no,
no. Actually, sequence we are giving like items to identify item sequences. Like in one sequence, two items cannot be taken. Each item should have its unique item sequence. Why
all
will
right,
we
okay,
do 10, 20, 30 means going
mm,
forward, you may need to add item between 10 and 20. So you need some gap. Even 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 also you can give
yeah, based on the config,
based on the configuration. So
yeah,
you can give 11, 12, 13, 14 also. So this 10 will gap we will give for future editions.
okay,
Okay, that sequence is typically in manufacturing only, and
okay,
also there is a operation sequence as well. In
yeah,
operation sequence, you may have manufacturing structure like sharing, bending,
mm,
okay, and like notching, and
mm,
then painting. So
mm,
finally assembly. All these operations will have its own sequence. Okay,
okay,
10,
yeah,
20, 30, like that. Same
yeah,
concept, like how we will give the item this one.
yeah,
And also this operation sequence, when you create the BOM structure, like item structure,
hmm,
if you say your item is belongs to operation sequence number 10,
yeah,
this item has to be available during sharing. Okay. If you say an item in item structure, operation sequences belongs to 40, it may be
mm,
during inspection.
okay,
That is how item to be available. So that is the
okay,
sequence. But planning will not use for the lead time. And the lead time concept is different, and the sequence is different.
okay, okay,
Okay.
all right, okay, thanks.
This tab is belongs to purchasing, whether this item is purchasable or not, and whether this item has to be considered in ASL approved supplier list, and what is the list price, what is the unit of issue, default buyer. So who is going to buy this item? All those things can be given here. And
But so that means we defining at three places whether it's a buy item or make item. So initially we made a reference on buy or make, and secondly I've noticed that it's a mandatory field where we have to tell whether it's a buy item or purchase or just,
right.
make item.
So
And now on
initially,
the third place.
right. Initially, we discussed make or buy in planning. So in
All right. Okay.
planning system has to identify whether it is purchase buy item or make item. If it is a make item,
Hmm.
planning engine is recommending to manufacturing it. It will create the work order. Okay.
Okay.
If it is a buy item, it will try to create purchase requisition.
Purchase requisition. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. The functionality is changing, right? That
Yeah.
is why the field is very important. If any
Okay.
item, if you say manufacturing item, if you mark it as a buy, definitely planning engine looks at purchasing only. It will create the purchase requisitions even supplier is not there.
Okay.
Afterwards, you may struggle and you may find out why it has been recommended for purchase requisition because that field.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, this field is belongs to purchase order. All these fields are belongs to purchase order. how this item to be eligible for purchase orders. Okay, in
Okay.
purchase order, what is this even receiving, whether during receiving, whether it should be inspected or not, and how many days can be received, how many days late can be received. So if you say days late, so after
Mm.
2 days you cannot able to receive it. So there will be a need by date on the purchase order. Beyond purchase need by date, it is eligible for 2 more days, and later you cannot receive it. You have to return back or need to speak to supplier or something like that.
Only if it is highly perishable, isn't it?
Right, and over received so here if you say receive date action like warning or reject, if you it is warning, it will give you pop up the message. Still you can
Okay.
accept it. If you
Okay.
say reject, straight away system will not accept. You send it back to supplier.
Supply. Okay. Yeah. Got it.
And or receipt control. Sometimes some items you can see exactly, like if you say grease, diesel, this and some coolant oil, such kind of items may not be exact quantity. Sometimes it may be excess. So if you give the some tolerance, it will be taken into the system even if it is over receipt. Okay, such
Okay.
kind of things can be given.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. And moreover, I may not be look at all the fields. Some fields may require or may not. A lot of fields, but anyway, during our in system, we can show again we are going to discuss how purchased item will have the attributes and all. We can discuss it. Okay,
Okay.
but high level I'm giving you.
Yeah,
And this
that's fine.
is associations. How we can association the organization. So here, if you look at it, BTX is the master organization. Rest of the organizations are the child organizations. Okay, we can assign this item to the child organizations.
Okay.
Now categories, what are all the categories? You know about category, right? Category means this item belongs to what. So whether it is the steel, whether it is kind of
Plastic
or painting item or something like that, it will be categorized into the categories. So here you can assign this item belongs to so and so category. Okay, and then once you define items, you may need to manage later. In tabs, we are not going to discuss about structures. Going forward, we are going to discuss. Now we are discussing about manage items. So how there may be changes. If you select it as a purchased item, now you want to make it as a sub-assembly, you can change it. Such kind of changes can happen and save it. Anytime, any attribute can be changed, except few attributes you cannot change if you have a transactions. Okay. So some attributes can be editable anytime.
All right.
And so when you search these items, you can search those items, and items will be looked at here. Click on that item link, which is showing it in blue color. Click on that. Again, our create item form will open it, and with the existed values where you can replace it. Okay. Before that, actually, here I want to give you one input. See here, you look at it. Advanced search. There is an item field where there are 2 stars. Okay. In during search, you need to give mandatory some value has to be given, which has to be matched. So not
you can't give any wild cards. You can't give any wild cards.
You can give percentage and get it, but here it is not possible. You need to give the some name at least.
Okay.
And if it is a single star, it may be any word you can give it in from the field. Okay. And if there is no no star means even you can search with even
wildcards.
Wildcards.
Percentage. Yeah.
Okay. And then search it. Click on that. Again, it will go back to our create item. This thing. So now you see purchasing where you want to replace or something like that. You can replace it. And also you have been created the item in master organization which has been assigned to the child organizations, but some attributes, some specifications there may be specific to child organizations. Okay, at that time go to managed items, search it and go to that organization and change the attributes. So all attributes will not be a master control, some attributes at org level. Okay, so if you look at it, purchased here is grayed out, it means it is at master, and purchasable even in this child organization you can change it. Okay, likewise list price, like price list, sorry, list price, maybe in one organization maybe one price, maybe another organization and some other price or something like that, you can vary it.
Okay.
Okay, and browse items, like you may need to look at the group of items or specific to template. You want to see all purchased items or range of items. So you can view by browsing. Even you can have your customized item classes based on item classes. Also, you can search it. Okay, browser item screen will be available like this. And here you can give item and item description, and even item class also you can give. Like we can look at it, so it will give you even range as well.
Okay.
Okay, it will show you all the list of items. Like you can export it. If you say here, there is a kind of table like Excel. So export symbol is there, right? If you click on that, it will export to the Excel. So all these lists can be uploaded to there.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, now move to item structure. Once you create the item, let us say you have created A item as a buy, B item as a buy, C item as a sub. Okay, A item doesn't have any item structure, B item doesn't have any item structure. Now C item will have the item structure.
Item structure.
Go to item structure tab, where you can it will allow you to create the bills of material there.
For C.
So yeah, before creating C, you need to define A and B. So when you define the structure for C, those items to be available in the system. So there is an option called select and add. If you click on that, it will pop up some find window where you can able to select the item. So where you can give the how much quantity to be required in this assembly, and what is the supply type, and so few fields will be there. And then once you define the structure, you can edit and you can give the rest of the fields as well. Okay.
And the unit of measure has to be exactly the same as the master item.
Right, right. Okay.
Okay. So let me ask you one more thing. So if you have a unit of measure mills, can you say in items, no, unit of measure is liter. So can you go one class down in the same class, like from liter to mills in item structure? So in the product, we say liter, but when you come to the item structure, we want to consume it as a bills of material. We want to consume it as milliliters. Can you say
actually,
that?
Structure is not possible, but during transaction, it is possible.
Okay, during transaction structure, you have to be exactly the same, isn't it then?
Right. To achieve that, you need to set up a dual unit of measure option, where, and also in unit of measure conversions, you need to set up this like
the class conversion.
Right. Class conversion has to be defined. So
okay.
Based on that, during transactions, whatever unit of measure you have given at master level will be show it as a stock. Okay.
How many class of conversion are there? So for example, if you buy a case which has 2 bottles of like 1 liter each, so
right.
the class will be directly that one case will be 2000 liters, so can be like 2 bottles, and then each bottle has 1000 milliliters or 1 liter each.
Yeah, it depends on conversion you defined. It is a predefined conversion has to be placed in the system before
Okay.
transaction.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so same thing like we are defining the finished goods item. Okay, this is item has been created, and now come to the structure. Create a new
Okay.
structure now.
Yeah.
Bills of material. So you name it something like primary or whatever, and you can give some description for this bomb. And here, when it comes to child level, select and add. When you click and select and add, so it will pop up with a new window where you can able to select your child items. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at it, the hazel is a finished
Yeah, finished good.
item. This piece is a child item. Okay.
Yeah.
This child item has like 5 tabs. Here, you can give like substitutes and reference designators, bomb designators, where used, additional attributes, all those things can be given here. Okay. Initially, like you can add this item, how much quantity required, what is the inverse quantity and all, and then comes into the attributes level, bomb attributes level, where you can give substitute in the sense which we discussed earlier. So A item can be replaced with D item. That setup has to be linked here also. Even
But
if you
here
have,
we don't have that relationship, isn't it? If
right.
company, we call it a company who supplies it, call it something else. We don't have it here, isn't it?
Right.
Okay. Only the substitute. So if that A item peach is not available, you can go for something else. That's the
Right.
substitute. Okay.
Correct. And reference designators. Reference designator in the sense like drawing any product specifications, and then sometimes photos. Okay, these things can be during manufacturing of this item, they may need some specification. They has to maintain some standard operating procedures. Those things can be given as a reference designators.
Okay.
Okay, and where used like here, this item has to be used in some other subassembly or something like that can be tagged here.
Okay.
Okay, and additional attributes is nothing but descriptive fixed fields.
Descriptive. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, this is how item structure will be defined. So next part, like work definition and execution, I think we can continue from tomorrow, right? I think we can off now.
You wish.
Okay. Tell me one thing. Like, let us go through complete flow with this tomorrow, so that see why I'm discussing all those things at a short, because you will have some idea inside it.
Yeah.
How we are going to define item, which will be used in item structure, and structure will be as part of work definition, and work definition part of execution, all those things. So theoretically, we will complete the end to end, and then we'll come back and start defining the items. Okay. So tomorrow we'll start with work definition, and then we'll try to create the items.
Okay. Ram, can you do me a favor, please? Do you have a PDF copy of this? Can you email to me? Or are you able to transfer the file here?
I think I don't have PDF for this. Let me ask Ajay to do something and give it to you.
Is Ajay here? Ajay? Hello? Ajay? I think
he might have put it in mute and he moved to some other work.
Okay.
Let me ping him in. Okay, anyway, I'll inform. That's not a problem.
Okay.
And so it just I will simply convert it into PDF and send it to you. It will not give you much details, but it will be put it as a reference for you.
Okay, I'll put my email ID. So if you can send it to me, then I will have a look. because some of the bits it's new to me, but mostly it's I'm familiar with things. I
Okay.
just need
Okay.
to, yeah.
Actually, in between 2 or 3 screenshots needs to be changed, and also need to add a few more screenshots. And let me do it tomorrow and send it to you.
Okay. I only need what we
Otherwise,
covered so far. That's all I need.
yeah. So otherwise, I think PPT may be big size. Okay. Let me ask Ajay. He
Yeah.
can do. Okay.
PPT to email. Yeah. Thanks. Okay then, Ram. Yeah, it's too late for you, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I said, if you want to make it a little bit early, so that if any chance by any chance you want to do it, let me know. I'll plan accordingly. If there is no meeting at in my office, then I'll get my computer with me, and then I will find a quiet place and I can log in.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are your off days? Saturday, Sunday only, right?
Off days is Saturday, Sunday, but Friday normally I work from home these days.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so Fridays will be a little bit flexible, but Monday to Thursday, if you want to make like instead of your 9 o'clock, you want to do it a bit early, then I'm flexible with that.
Right.
I didn't thought
Sure.
about
But
it in the first place, but
sure.
when I thought, okay, if I want to do a break for an hour or two, I can do it, and then I can continue to work. So I can do it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, I may not inform you a day before, but I can let you know by like 2 hours early or 3 hours before, so that yeah, we
Yeah,
can.
message me on WhatsApp or through Ajay, whatever, whichever convenient. And then
Right.
I can, if I respond, then that means, okay, I'm available. If I didn't pick it or by any chance, if I miss it, then if you can't, just leave a message. Okay, we'll come like 2 hours early, otherwise I can't do it. Then if I can come, I will reply to you. If I miss it, then that class is missed on that day. We can cover on the next day, following day.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay then.
Okay.
Have a good
Yeah.
night.
Good night.
Good night
Yeah.
then. Yeah. So speak to you tomorrow then. What time tomorrow? Oh, yeah, that's something I want to ask you. What time you want me to be in
Yeah, I will
tomorrow?
let you know. Yeah, I will email you. I'll let you know.
If you want to make it early morning, that's fine. But then you need to tell me now. Now means in a couple of hours time, so that if it is early morning, I need to wake up.
All right.
Yeah, because your 6 o'clock will be, I'm 4.5 hours right now. No, from tomorrow it will be like 5.5 hours behind. So when it's I am 5 a.m. for me is 10:30 for in India. So I have to, but I'm all right if anytime, if you want 2 o'clock or 2 a.m. I have to wake up, I'm fine. Saturday, Sunday I'm all right with. So
fine.
let me know in advance and I will make it up.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay then. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Right.
You take care. Bye. We'll do that. No worries.
About what is the work definition and what is the significance of work definition and execution. So as end of these topics are we are going to discuss about manufacturing process flow. We already discussed it theoretically, and here I'm going to show you in some kind of flow chart. And work definition. Work definition consists of what? Work structure, operations, and everything. And work order, that is discrete job. And operations transactions. Once you define the work order, it is like your job order. And in that, operations transactions, like one area to another area, and then material transactions, and then the resource transactions. Resource transactions will be as part of operations. Resource means here labor or machinery, any transactions. And then production history, how many you started, how many completed, how many in unreleased status, like that. And once you completed everything, you need to run the transfer production to costing. Okay, I think since you worked in EBS finance, you may have some idea like in every area, in every transaction, you provide account combination to capture account transactions, credit or debit or whatever.
Yeah.
Like in Fusion case, what happening, transactions happens in a separate path and costs happens only once we completed all the transactions. Once you transfer all those details to the costing only will be costed. Till then, it will not reach to finance transactions. Okay, that process, how to transfer and all also we can discuss. This is a typical manufacturing flow. So this is not belongs to a regular something like other ERP. How manufacturing plant. So manufacturing plant will treat it as an inventory organization, and which may have a different physical inventory locations. They are sub inventories like scrapyard, stores, it's a raw material storage, shop floor, that is our manufacturing location, that is work area, and finally finished goods area. Stores, shop floor, these areas may have work centers again. In shop floor, it means work area. In manufacturing plant, you may have different work centers. It means in each work center, you will have the operation sequences where your workers, labor will be there, your machinery will be there, and your items like raw material will be there where you can perform the assembly or any kind of operation, sharing, bending, or something like that. And so where our resources involved, to capture the cost of the finished goods, we will include the equipment also as a resource. Okay, I think you might have heard about labor hours, machine hours. Here, labor hours in the sense a resource of person. Machine hours in the sense resource of equipment. We also need to capture the time and cost of each item and each labor. And if during manufacturing, if there is any reworks happens, it will go back to rework area, or if it is not reworkable or it is not reusable, it will directly go to scrapyard. And then finally, once you complete everything, you should have the quality control. That is an important department where you can during raw material you will inspect the items, and also you can inspect the finished goods. And then once if it is accepted, it will go to the finished goods sub inventory, from where your sales order will be shipped to the customer. So this is a high level, simple, typical manufacturing flow. In order to run the manufacturing cycle, there should be some prerequisites. Organization. Our manufacturing plan should be defined as a organization in Oracle. Okay, so each organization should have the plant parameters. Once you enable the plant parameters only, it will become your manufacturing organizations. So these organizations should have at least one sub-inventory. If it is a sub-inventory is a locator control, you should have one locator. Locator is optional only. It depends. Like if it is a big plant, they will use the locators. Okay.
I didn't get that part actually, because if it's a manufacturing manager, if there is a plant, so it's a plant is a big factory,
right?
So when you say sub inventory, is it something similar to work area, or
no?
Is it just no?
Here you look at it: scrapyard, stores, shop floor, FG inventory. These four are belongs to sub inventories.
Okay.
Where our items physically located.
All right. So within the manufacturing plant, so that's the four, for example, that's the four area. And
again, within the stores, okay, you will have some organized manner. Plastic can be kept at a one rack, and the steel will be stored at one rack. So such kind of rows, rack, bin kind of concepts can be captured in locators. Still, stores also cater into different locators. It
Is
depends.
is the locator is equal to same as work center or
No, actually
no?
here in this flow it is not there, but in between work center and stores it can be.
It can be. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so before having the work definition or work areas, you should have a manufacturing organization and sub-inventories and locators.
Okay.
And work definition. So for work definition, items should be there. You will have the components. They are like by items, child components, item structure, that is bills of material should be there.
Mm.
And common work setup. It means you should have the work area where
Yeah.
you will perform your operations, and some workers or labor should be there.
Mm.
Okay, and work centers. Here work centers means operations. You know the operation, right?
Yeah.
In Fusion we'll call it as a work centers.
Yeah.
And then using these three concepts will create the work definition. Work definition is nothing but recipe. Okay, in business terminology we can say recipe, like
Yeah.
and then work execution.
Yeah.
Using with work definition, we'll create the work orders, and then to complete that work order, we'll release it in the production and do the operation transactions and material and resource transactions. This is the basic flow.
Okay. Can I just go back to that slide, please?
Okay.
Can I just one question, which actually I have from my current work? Can you say that work center, you have the work area and work center code. When you create are they independent or are they related, this work area? I'll tell you what I actually mean. So for example, you say 3 business units, and 3 business units will have common work centers. And you call the work center as 01, for example, or WC1.
Right.
So are we able to run a report on WC01 and get all the activities on 3 work centers without actually referring to the work area and the org?
At work centers level, we don't have any kind of reports, but
Okay.
you can have all work centers will be in one page where you can export it, but activities cannot be. It can be captured, but it can be at work area. So
It has to be with
have
the organization, work area, and the work center, isn't it?
right.
So
So
you can't drill down. For example, I have business unit 1, and the work area is you call WA2, WA1, and the work center is WC01, for example. And there is another org, business unit 2. Again, it will have the work area WA1 and WC1. So if I want to run a report excluding the business unit, I can't run it, isn't it? I have to run it along with the business unit. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
Here you mean business unit in the sense organization, right?
Organization. Yeah. For example, one in US and one in UK, one in India. So it's 2, 3.
Correct. So manufacturing works at the organization level only. Okay.
Okay.
Each organization will have the separate reporting, separate activities and it does the costing at organization level only.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So no US person can look at the India organization, and India operations cannot be happened in US.
But if under the master org, if somebody is on a super use, they want to run a report on all the work areas for all the orgs. So do they need to select each organization and work area, or can they select WA1? And because WA1 is the same work area for organization 1, 2, and 3, can they run one WA1 report and get all the information for all the organization?
No, it is not possible.
It's not possible. Okay.
Even it is a common work center, it is not possible.
Still, okay. It's not working like a finance account combination, isn't it?
Right. So purchasing, order management, finance, these applications will be worked at operating unit level. But
Okay.
whereas manufacturing will work at the organization level only.
Organization.
So
Okay.
in manufacturing, highest in hierarchy, highest point is organization, and
Okay.
then operating.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Got it. I'm with you. Thank you.
Okay, so work definition means like what to make along with like by adding item structure and bills of material, and how to make it. It means by
Routing.
using what.
Yeah.
Okay, like what are all the operations will be there, and in a standard work order. So actually, this fusion manufacturing single level explosion logic, in the sense work definition will have a kind of hierarchy. Let me, are you able to see my Excel sheet?
No. If you share it, I can see.
No, I
I
think
can't see anything now. Do you want to talk about the work definition? I can see now.
okay, so work definition will have like work area, and each work area,
Work center, isn't it?
multiple work centers, and will have material.
Yeah.
Likewise, this is how structure will be. I think now you understood. Like in shop floor, is our sub-inventory where you can have a number of work areas. Okay, so sharing means cutting of the steel. Okay,
Okay.
and maybe bending. So if you say fabrication is a one work area, painting is one work area,
Yeah.
assembly is one work area. Example, I'm telling you. And in fabrication, again, you will have shearing, bending, notching, kind of welding. All those things will be there. They are work centers.
Okay.
Okay, each work center will be involved with okay, person one, and shearing machine. Like that. Okay, person will spend like 1 hour or 2 hours, along with shearing machine, with shearing machine 1 hour, welding machine 2 hours, or something like that.
Okay.
So this is how a structure will be there, which we need to define before creating the work order. Let us say TV, okay, like a 40-inch TV should take as the example. So which required one work definition, which consists of all work areas, work centers, resources, material, and all. It should be a predefined and put it in the system. And because in mass production, you will keep create the work orders and deliver to the customers. This week you planned for 100 TVs. Okay, so using with this work definition, you will create the work orders and will complete it, close it. Okay, and then next week maybe you can create work order for 50 quantity for the same TV, that is 40-inch. Each TV model will have one work definition. As we discussed earlier, going forward, maybe your TV, 40-inch TV is upgrading. Maybe you are replacing some components. Okay, some changing are happening. So you revise the work definition and use the latest revision and start create the work orders.
For that, do we need to get? You need a second version of the work definition, isn't it? For that.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so work definition is like a template used for performing set of operations. That is what we discussed,
Yeah.
and it consists of combination of operations, resources, components. Hereafter, I may speaking like components and assembly. I mean, assembly means that is TV, maybe finished product. If I say sub-assembly means that assembly consists of different assemblies, child assemblies. Okay, components means that is a by item like child items. Components means it's a single item. Okay, look at our terminology. Going forward, if I say assembly means it is a finished goods, sub-assembly means number of sub-assemblies under assembly, and components. So let me put it here also.
Assembly is finished item.
Assembly is finished goods. Sub-assembly and components. This is the terminology will be used in manufacturing, typical manufacturing in Oracle. Here component means child items. They are like maybe by items. Okay. And
so sub-assembly means?
Sub-assembly means like if you take TV as an example, TV is a course, but cutting sheet and complete frame assembly is one sub-assembly, and picture tube, motherboard will be one sub-assembly because motherboard will have a lot of diodes, all those things. Okay, so each diode treated as a component, but when you combine
other
with diode
to make a part,
that
will be sub-assembly. Yeah,
right. So when you have a different work areas, electrical parts may be one work area where you will assemble the motherboards. So your assembly, all these sub-assembly will reach to the assembly point where you will assemble all these assemblies and will become the final
assembly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is how structure will be.
Okay.
And work definitions, maybe like some mass production companies are initial when they go to live, they can define the work definitions using spreadsheets like mass loading data. If you have there is a templates available in Oracle where you can download and create mass data can be created using interfaces, and even Oracle will provided an option like go to that form and click on one Excel icon will be there. It will open the Excel sheet where you will give the all information and load it, so that the system will create automatically.
Is that for work definition or the mass work?
No, this is for work definition. This is specific to
work definition. Okay, I'm familiar with that, Ram.
Yeah. So first we'll, let us create the work definition manually, and then we can look at it mass loading.
Mass loading, yeah.
Okay, so prerequisite for work definition are product, that is assembly, FG, and components. Okay, and define work area. So this is the order we will maintain like going forward. Like we will create the work area and work centers and resources. We also need to define the resources as a labor, as a equipment.
Okay.
Okay, so here just to understand, like if you treat it manufacturing and item creation is different. So that is why I included this slide here. But this is talking about the create of item and item structure only, which we discussed last night.
Sure.
Okay, this is about work area. Page looks like this. Go there and click on plus icon.
I can't see your other slide. I'm still with the Excel now.
Oh, every time we need to. I can share complete system, right?
I think so. You can.
Okay, I'll check with Ajay later.
Okay, now I can see.
Okay. So before screens are like this, I think you have not seen or not. This is about work definition prerequisites.
Yeah.
Before defining work definition, you should have all these details.
So you need
okay?
the master item there.
Yeah, master item for finished product and components. And master item, finished goods should have the bills of material and work areas, work centers, resources, and resources as a equipment and as a level.
Okay.
Okay, this is a typical item and item structure page which we discussed last night. And this is work area page. Click on plus icon, give the name, and you can give the code. Okay, and simple name. That's all.
Okay.
Okay, this is the page where we will define the resource. Okay, what is the resource name? Like you can say welder, you can say like bender, like that you can give the names. Okay, resources always will calculate it in a basic unit of measure is hours.
Yeah,
because we need to give the time. Least is hours only, and in hours again per hour cost how much. Okay, so here there is a checkbox like costing enabled. If you say costing enabled checked, this resource will be calculated in your costing. Some resources maybe you may not consider it in costing. Maybe some machinery or something like that you may not consider, but whatever resources you are considering to be a part of your finished good cost, need to check this checkbox.
Okay.
Yeah, you are looking here. Bottom there are two pages. One is like create resource, same time edit resource here, right? If you look at left side, there is a type called equipment. There is a drop down where it will show you type drop down. You can select equipment and labor.
Okay.
Here, this resource is equipment, this is resource is labor.
Okay.
Okay. And then create work centers like our operations. Okay, where we can perform our operation. Each operation may include components, I mean material. Okay. You know, if you take the big manufacturing industries, at each work center need the material, right? So for welding area, you need a welding equipment, welding rods, and some kind of cotton waste. All those things will be needed. They are like consumables. Along with that, our raw material, like our sub-assemblies also should be available at that place. So when you define the work definition, you should know that which items, which sub-assemblies to be required at particular work center. Accordingly, when you complete work orders, your operation, your material transaction happens. You know, have you heard about backflush? It means when you complete that work center, your material will be consumed from your shop floor to your finished goods, right? Now you have all the components, all the sub-assemblies lying on shop floor, but those components has to be consumed, right? You're selling your finished goods to the customer, yeah. But when you sending your finished good to the customer, then your components has to be consumed from your stores, your sub-inventories, like shop floor sub-inventory.
What do you said about the backflush? What does that mean? Backflush?
Yeah. Backflush means during completion, during work order completion, those items to be consumed to the finished goods.
Okay.
Let me tell you in cost perspective. You have a raw material cost, so you purchase it, you receive it, and it is lying in your organization. Now you want to make the finished goods. Okay, All these raw material cost has to be tagged to your finished goods.
Mm.
When you're selling your finished goods, like for 100 rupees, so you are consuming 70 rupees of, okay, 70 euro of raw material has to be consumed to the finished
Okay.
goods. So at this particular work center, these components has to be consumed. That is what you need to define before completing the work order.
Okay.
Okay, so each work center will have the specific components or specific sub-assemblies. But few clients, few customers, what they do, we don't want, so even we are using physically our items at each work center, but in system,
Mm.
we don't want to consume at each work center. We want to consume those items in the system only at the time of final completion. So in
Okay.
that case, what happens till you complete the final work center, final work area,
Mm.
your components cannot be consumed. It will be lying in your shop floor only. In terms of value, in terms of quantity, will be lying in your shop floor area only. Once you
Okay.
are done the final completion, all these components will be backrushed. Backrushed in the sense consumed and reduced your on-hand quantity and adding it to your finished goods. Now, one TB will become as a finished goods quantity 1.
Mm.
Your raw materials will be reduced the quantity from your shop floor.
But there is a danger, isn't it, Ram, if you do that? Because if you don't do the backflush immediately, so for example, you have two materials to do a production, and you have a work order for three items, and the three item will it allocate, or will it say that there is no more item? Because from the inventory, if it's lying on top, it will allocate the production, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a very good question. And also it happens. But I told you some clients or some customers only do because if your assembly cycle, your manufacturing cycle is less, if
Okay.
manufacturing cycle is less, maybe, in 1 hour you are completing one finished
Mm.
goods, one TV of assembly. So
Okay.
you no need to put it in each operation. That is why they will avoid at each work center means if you complete this work center only, it will move to the next work center.
Okay.
Okay, every time a production engineer has to be performed in the system for each work center along with physically. Physically, anyway, he's doing his manufacturing and move it to one center to another center. And same time, every time he has to come to the system and do all those things.
Mm.
Okay, so to reduce the time, they will put it in only end of the product only. But if
Okay.
it is your manufacturing cycle is maybe 1 day or 2 days,
Mm.
danger which you said will happen definitely. So
Okay.
system will confuse and operators also will confused. There is a lot of confusion happens because the important point is that you should not be put as a reservable sub-inventory for manufacturing shop floor sub-inventory because this danger happens. If you say reserved, it will be reserved to one work definition, work order, another
Mm.
one will be stuck. So that is the reason always there is a recommendable setup is for shop floor sub-inventory is it should be always unreservable. It is
Okay.
open. There is no restriction at there. You can use
Mm.
those items for any work order. See,
Yeah.
40 TVs may be like you may have two work orders for the
Mm.
same item, same finished goods. But tomorrow you are planning for 50 quantity. Today you are planning for 100 quantity. There is no restriction, but that all these components that belongs to this order only. Okay, that
Mm.
flexibility will be there, but this danger will be there. Need to take care. That is the
Okay.
reason. If your manufacturing cycle is less, they will go with the end of the operation.
Okay.
Okay. And finally, work definition. Now, in work definition, we need to tag all those things like your work centers, and work area will have number of work centers. Work centers will have the resources. So if you attach work definition, all this hierarchy will happen. Okay. So typical work definition screen will looks like this. Now you look at it. 10, stem grooming. Okay. 20, like flower grooming. This is like a simple example actually. Flower bouquet manufacturing. So here, if you see right side, there are the components, the list of items, all these things. The pie assembly is the structure. Okay, now you can say like first two components maybe at first work center, third and fourth maybe at second work center, that is 20. So we discussed yesterday, right? 10, 20, 30 like that.
Yeah.
This is the way. So here you can insert the operations in between, like maybe 11, 12 or something like that. So just we will give the 10 as the elements. Going forward, you may have new operation come into where you can insert in between them. That is the reason we always maintain 10.
Okay. Can I ask you another stupid question here? Okay. You said it's stem grooming and flower grooming happening in one operation. Yeah.
No, stem grooming is one operation.
Yeah, stem grooming. No, I mean one work center.
Right.
Okay. So, for example, it can be done by one person. For example, person A is doing stem grooming, and when he completes stem grooming, he will go for flower grooming. Yeah.
Right.
So, if there are two labors, so the person one will do the stem grooming and person two will do the flower grooming. I'm asking a different scenario. So both person stem grooming will take 5 minutes, flower grooming will take 5 minutes.
Right.
So if it's done by person A, he will take 10 minutes. If it is done by person A and B, it will be done in 5 minutes because they can do it parallelly.
Right.
So how do you actually tell the system it's been done? It's not, there is no dependencies between 20 and 10. It can be done parallelly. Or it is done, there is a dependency. So in that case, the planning will say it will take 10 minutes. Otherwise, the planning should say both will be done in 5 minutes.
Right.
So that's why I asked that question yesterday about 10 and 20. I was thinking, if you put 10 and the second one also 10, the system will think it's both in the same time. But if it is 10 and 20, the system will think there is a dependency. So 10 has to be completed before the 20 starts.
Right. But if one resource is doing both the operations, means under both the operations, same resource will be available with different different times. But if it is a different resources, each resource will be tagged to the each operation. If you look at the like mass production, so always stem grooming person will keep doing the same stem grooming one by one. So every 5 minutes he will complete the stem grooming, but he will give it to the flower grooming. But if it is the same person, like linear kind of manufacturing, so where one person performs all these things. Okay, so in work center 20 also we will give the same resource. Okay, same. So it will capture the same cost of that resource only. If it is a different resource, sometimes there is a overlap. Okay, so this person will complete it in 5 minutes, but before he completes, he can start the flower grooming as well. There will be overlapping. So those things also will be look at our resource tagging with each work center.
Okay.
And also assigned units. We can say assigned units. One operation may perform more than one resource. So if it is a 2 units in the sense, as you said, like 5 minutes for one person, if two persons may be together, like it is a 2.5 minute only. Okay. When then you can say you can add operation. I mean resource A. If you say assigned units 2, in the sense same resources, will perform the same time, but the total completion time will be less.
Totally. Yeah, that's my question actually. That was my question actually.
Yeah. So at that time, but your cost has to be calculated for both, right?
Yeah, cost
So
has
that
to
is
be
the reason.
calculated both.
Yeah, that is the reason we will make it as S&D units 2. It will be multiplied with its cost.
Okay, the cost will be fine, but what I'm thinking is the finished or the lead time will be different, isn't it? So when the
Right.
planning will look at it, if somebody is placing an order, the system should tell them that it will start at 11 o'clock and it will finish at 11:05 because two
Right.
people are doing that. So that's my question actually, because how
Yeah.
does the system plan that? How do
Yeah.
we
So
tell the system to plan that actually?
right. We will tell like we will have the along with the material we are giving the resources also, right?
Yeah,
Routing. So this routing means operation
the
sequences
standard
where we
operations. Yeah.
overlapping and everything. Okay. So you can edit, even you can copy from existing work definition as well.
Hmm.
And so here you see like below screen, like 10, 20, 30 screens, like where you added a sequence of each operation, standard
Yeah.
operation.
Yeah.
So here we are talking about versioning of work definition. You already ever like you worked a lot on this, right? You
Yeah.
have some research on this, right?
Yeah,
So
I've
this
done
is
that.
all like even you may not able to delete the work definition, but you can keep the give the versioning.
Yeah.
So always you can use the latest version
With
for
the
workout.
yeah, the production priority will become also one, so
Right.
that will go for the costing.
Right. So if
And the
you
automatic work definition, where how do we do the automatic? That's something I haven't explored it. The automatic work definition. So
you mean automatic means?
because I've seen that you can, if there is something you want to do it regularly, you could actually do an automatic work definition from the item structure, from the bill of materials. Because if the bill of materials are there, you don't have to actually upload a work definition or create a work definition. You can just, if it is a manufacturing plant, you can actually create a automatic work definition, which is like a system will create it for you, and then you add the operation or something you want, you can add it there.
Yeah, we can look at it like.
Okay.
Once we are done with the work definition, we need to move into work orders. So now everything is ready to complete your production.
Mm-hmm.
For manufacturing team, there should be some order, like job order, we can say in business. So in Oracle, it will create the work order number and the number of units to be completed, and for what work definition. Work definition in the sense, what is the recipe, like
Yeah.
what are the components in it, what is the routing cycle, how many resources required, so that the production team can be estimate their resource requirement 1 day ahead. So all this scheduling happens like weekly or sometimes monthly or something like that. Business on depend on business cycles. But tomorrow, if they want to start the one particular work order, how many resource requirement is there? So there are some reports also, like what is the resource requirement for this particular work orders, and work order detailed report kind of things. And they will go with all those details will be available in work definition. And so they can create update work orders. They can even change the quantity, and work order statuses will be like when you create work order, it will be in unreleased status. Okay. Till you start the production, it will be unreleased. You cannot perform any transactions during unreleased status. You need to, like, production planner has to be assigned this work orders to the production team by releasing it. Okay. In business, how it will be like a released task has to be done by production planner, and then once it is released, the production team will be start work on it. Sometimes maybe for some changes or there may be priority changes happen sometimes. Suddenly customer expect it, and they need one our some customers will be having a good relation with us. We want to start their work orders first, and then we'll keep the on hold. You can keep it on hold, so nobody can touch the work orders.
Okay.
And once you complete the production, it will change its status automatically to complete. It means your production has been done. Okay. Once you complete the work orders, it will be lying there only. Always it will show complete. Our costing team has to be make it closed. If it is closed,
okay, the costing team has to make it closed then.
Right. So in business, usually closed functionality has to be given to the costing team. Okay, production team, their job is done. Once it is completed, they put it in finished goods subinventory. Their job is done. They are least bothered about how much cost has done, how much we spent, what is the finished goods cost, all those things. They are least made. So they are not going to close the work orders, and costing team is going to close it. Once it is closed, all cost transactions happens. Okay, how much you are supposed to spend, how much you actually spend, what is the difference, why difference happens, there is a variance. All those things will be calculated by costing team. And sometimes cancelled. So maybe customer may be cancelled or a design changed or something like that. If you want to cancel the work order, you can cancel it. So cancellations, holding, and released, these things will be done by a production planner basically. So sometimes maybe out of Oracle, out of the system, I may use some business terminology. Usually in business, any business, production planner will take care of giving the scheduling to the production team. Okay. So after creation of work order, next step is start work on the product or finished goods and complete each operations and consume the materials. And as you said, resources will work on each operation and finally complete their finished goods. Okay. So sometimes there may happen quantity changes, dates. Okay. Sometimes you may postpone the scheduling time. Sometimes you may prepone it. You can change the dates. It is a little flexible. You can do it.
Can I pause here for a second? So I'm just going back to that backflash now. So if the backflash is happening at the end, does that mean that the costing people, when they close it, that's when the backflash happen, or will it happen before that? Because we discussed about two scenarios where either you consume it immediately or the backflash will happen at the end. So when we say the end, will it be when it closed the work order? No. I mean by the costing team.
No, after backflash only it will change to the complete status.
Okay.
During completion only material transactions happens.
Okay, so that completion will be done by the costing team then?
No, production team,
Production team. Okay. Oh, the close will happen by work order close will be performed by the costing team.
Right.
Okay.
But it is not so frequent. They will do weekly or monthly like that. But end of the month, they must be done because they want to close the periods for organization level, right?
Yeah.
So during that time, if they are not closing, these costs will move to the next month, right? You are much aware of it. Whatever completed in this month has to be completed before 30th of this month.
It's in the finance terms. You do the accruals and all those things.
Right. Yeah. There is no restriction that you need to close it at today or tomorrow. But usually business will do sometimes daily or sometimes month end. You also have a SRS also, you can submit the request. Okay, so that request can be scheduled for weekly or for daily or something like that. It will take whatever completed jobs are there in the system and will close it automatically. Okay, but most of the times it depends. If they have short work orders, they will go by this SRS, or otherwise open the page and close it.
Okay.
Okay, and there is some extra features are that you can attach some work instructions to the work order, and like some instructions of operations, like what are the operations and the material requirements, bills of material, and all you can upload to work order itself.
Yeah.
Anyway, it will be available in a work definition, but still, if you want. And serialization, like for your finished goods, you must have a serial, right? And also sometimes for your sub-assemblies also, you can have serial numbers.
Okay.
Okay, during transactions, it will ask serial number. So you need to select that serial number and complete it.
How about the lot numbers?
If you have lot control, we can use the lot numbers as well.
Okay.
Okay. And reservations. You know, when you have a customer order for your finished product, let us say TV, once you complete this work order, it has to be reserved to that particular work sales order.
Okay.
Okay. In that case, this work order has to be linked with sales order. Otherwise, once you complete this finished good, it will be lying in sub inventory only. It will not be reserved to any sales order. Okay, typical flow, how it will be, you will have the sales order for your finished goods, so and so quantity. Once you progress it, your workflow will create the work order for given work definition automatically from the sales order itself. At that time, this sales order is linked to the work order. Once you complete the work order, within fraction of seconds, this finished goods will be reserved to that particular sales order. You cannot touch that finished goods. Still, you can delete it, but it means it is belongs to the particular sales order. In turn, that sales order is belong to particular customer. Okay, that is what we're talking about reservations.
Okay,
sometimes you can manually link to the sales order. Sometimes what happens, over a phone, customer says, I need 20 TVs. Okay, but our team is going to raise a purchase order, but meanwhile you can start your production because I need it very urgently. So based on their phone call, based on rapport between them, they will start the production. They will create the work orders manually and they start working on it and they will complete it. But after getting the sales order, they can link it. Manually also we can link it.
Okay, so if there is a complete, if there is inventory in the organization, they can link to the sales order, isn't it? If there is already finished goods, they can also link that to the sales order.
Yeah, that is there. That can be done one way. Other way, this work order should be linked to the sales orders. Manually, you can link it. Once it is completed, inventory person no need to link to the sales order.
Okay.
Okay, automatically when he look at the quantity in inventory, warehouse guy, it is tagged to the particular sales order. Definitely, he cannot do anything. Reserved, unreserved functionality has not been given to warehouse operator. That operator will reach back to production planner saying that this sales order is linked to the particular sales order. I mean, this item is linked to the particular sales order. I may not move to the another customer. So there may be some kind of deviations. So at higher level, if they get the approval, they will change it here and there.
Okay. So let me just recap what you said. So there are situations like you submit a sales order, you raise a sales order, and the sales order will trigger the work order. In that case, the automatic reservation will happen. The second scenario is we produce it and we can relate it to link to the sales order.
Exactly.
And the third is if we already have a finished product, then we can allocate when the sales order is right. It will check and it will say, okay, it will automatically reserve it and we can dispatch.
Right.
Okay.
So, you know, like ATO. ATO means
we haven't explored, used that in our organization, the assemble to order, isn't it?
Right. But third scenario is like make to stock. You already make it and keep it in a stock. Whenever you get the sales order, you will reserve it and send it to the customer because you already have the stock. First scenario is assemble to order, like based on order only you can manufacture and send it to the customer.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Does it have the CTO model as well? The configure to order, those things?
Yeah. Yeah. Configure to order. In configure to order, you can have different configurations, and your complete model will have all the configurations. I mean, all the options in option classes. Are you aware of ATO model? ATO model hierarchy.
Theoretically, I know something, but you have to take me through.
Okay.
I to you, I have actually completed the manufacturing module on documentation actually. So I have some good theoretical knowledge. So when you go through this, it will start. Yeah.
Good. Because you know theoretically and you are keep learning, but you just resonate me. I always link to the manufacturing. So when I'm telling, I may take through shop floor only. You should imagine virtually you are in factory.
Yeah.
So
I can understand.
Yeah. I can give you, maybe I can hypnotize you, saying that I can create one factory environment in your mind, so that you can.
No, otherwise, I won't be able to understand. I'm actually assuming that visualizing things in like.
Right.
Yeah. So you are in the right path anyway. You are hypnotizing me.
Okay. See, mostly I may not in Oracle terminology. I may not use very keen and very particularly, but business terminology I will put it more because it to easily catch. Theoretically, you also can learn like Oracle terminology, something like that. But you need business terminology. That is why I'm correlating business terminology.
Yeah, so level of job or my career I'm looking is I need more terminology. So in order to speak to the business, I need to know the business terminology. If I have to discuss with the consultant, functional consultant, I need to know the Oracle terminology.
Right.
I have to map it both. So you're on the right path anyway.
Okay. This is how typical work order page will be. First is unreleased status or product work definition and item structure details, all those things. Okay, edit work order, like you can edit any operations changes happens. Say what happens, work definition is predefined. You decided how many components required, how many resources required, what are the operations to be performed, everything. But in practical, in production floor, there may be some changes happens. Some quantity changes, operation changes. Ideally, welder has to be there today production, but one skilled welder is not there. So we need to change the unskilled worker who can take more time. Maybe instead of completing 1 hour, he took the 1.5 hours. So these changes happens at production level. This is where our actual change, cost will where you can have a difference. So work definition level, it is the predefined. So it's like a theoretically everything. And when it comes to practical, there may be little changes. So that is the reason you can edit the work order. Once you edit the work order, whatever changes you did, all these changes will be captured in actual hours. In turn, it will show you in variances. So as a costing person, there he can able to identify. End of the month, if it is a more variance, there should be some wrong is happening. Okay, in each industry, they will say like 2% variance can be manageable. So if it is beyond, like within 2%, they will accept it in every month and closing. If it is beyond, so they will think about it. They need some changes and then they do. Okay. And history, like you can look at the like how many work orders has been completed, when you released, when we have given to the production, how much they completed, how much spending, all those things can be looked at the history place. Okay, and so once you define the created the work order, you start building your finished goods. You can do the operation transactions from work center to work center. Once you say 10 to 20, once you move from 10 to 20, material will be consumed at 10. Your operation is changed, and then 20 to 30, 30 to 40, like that. Okay, this is how like intra-operation transactions will be there. Ready means you can start the production, and complete. In between, like if it is a reject, it will go to the reject, and if you rework, it will come back to ready again. And if it is non-usable, it goes to scrap. It is a like it's non-aerocortical phrase. It's kind of intra-operation steps. Okay, here this is how operation transactions happens. You need to select the operation and transfer it. So it means at this operation it is completed. Now, if you look at the work order, where it is, you can say where it is lying. When you open the work orders, you can look at it where it is lying. So first operation completed, it is lying at second operation. In some, like if you say shipbuilding or some big like on civil construction kind of companies, their lead time, manufacturing lead time is in a days or months. So for each operation it takes days. So for each operation manually they need to transfer work order from one operation to another operation. So after some time, maybe at super user level or manager or something like that, who is looking, who is sitting in London, UK, and he wants to see at India, Hyderabad operations where they are lying, how many they completed, and all, they can look at these work orders and it will show you where they are exactly.
Okay. Can I ask you something on the previous slide, please?
Yeah.
I can see under the task list, you got close work orders. I thought the close work orders will be done out by the costing team. So it will not come up under the production side.
Right. Right. You see, it is not custom role. It is like supervisor role. That is the reason you are able to see all the.
All right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And here, just like on-hand quantity, like how on-hand quantity is lying in shop floor like that. So this screen is talking about on-hand quantity only.
Okay.
And then during once operation transactions happens, see here screens are talking about these transactions. When you do the transactions manually, these steps are otherwise automatically happens. I told you backlash means backlash operation is automatic. If it is a transfer manually, if it is a push supply type, you need to give manually to the material to the finished goods. Okay, here you see material issue. It means you are giving material from inventory to work order. It means finished goods. Material return. Sometimes you no need, maybe that item is not fit there or damaged or something like that. They will remove from the work order and give it to the stores again back.
So 1 second.
Yeah.
So when you say it's a push item, so we need to manually allocate the items to the work order then.
Right.
So when it says pull, then it will be automatically, it will pull the item from the inventory.
Correct.
Why is that happen? What's its significance in between those two? I didn't understand.
Right. So for fabrication, maybe 4 by 8 feet stainless steel sheet. Okay. Yeah. So this sheet is useful for 4 TVs. Or 5 TVs.
Okay.
Okay, you cannot cut it and give it to the work orders.
All right. Okay.
Okay, so you will push it manually to the work order where they will cut it and assemble that. Whereas bolts, nuts, screws, or something like that, always you no need to give it manually. That in system also you need to perform the transaction for push items. Go there, select the work order, and select that item, component, whatever sheet or something like that, and click on save. Then only this item will go to the work order. One transaction will be printed in the system. Whereas in pull, you no need to do manually. If on hand is available in sub inventory, it will take it automatically to the work order. There is no manual intervention for screws, nuts, all those things. It is like a predefined items. You no need to manufacture anything on it. You bought it from the supplier and keep it in.
Okay, so in the push scenario, so you said you'll give you a big sheet and they using half of it, and will the rest of the half will go to the inventory or will it be lying on the shop floor?
Right, it depends. Like there is a material return, so it is access to that work order. They can return back to the stores. Again, that is a manual step. Okay, you say second step is material return. Material is returned from work order inventory.
Okay.
Resource. You have a manpower like labor, and you have equipment. So you need to charge resources to the work order. It means you need to perform the resource transactions.
Okay, so one more stupid one. Right. So in the pull situation, it will also, I guess, it will do the automatic charge. It knows exactly how much that component it consumes. In the push, do we need to manually tell it how much the cost is?
No. In terms of cost, it happens automatically. Only doing transaction to reduce or increase the quantity only. But cost happens automatically because that item cost is already predefined in the system. It is lying in the system.
Okay.
So each item have a specific cost in it based on costing method. If you have a standard costing method, it is a predefined. If it is an average costing method, it will be calculated based on your receiving transactions, right?
Okay. So for example, in the push method, sorry to ask a lot, Ram.
Okay.
In the push method, if we say, okay, I'm telling that we have a sheet which size of 8 meters, but we only need 4 meters to be consumed in that production.
Right.
But in the work definition, we said we need to consume at each, which is 1.
Right.
Or will we say that it's a meters? What will be unit of measure?
Yeah, it depends. Like, if you say meters or feet or something like that, whatever unit of measure you have given, what is the whatever quantity you have given will be charged to the work order only.
So it can't be each then.
Yeah, it can't be each. It depends on item. Like, so if you say oil, it may be like millimeters or milliliters or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So if it is a bolt or nut, it is a each.
It is an each.
Yeah. So each item will be depend on its physical entity. It will be changed.
So what I was thinking is, if it is an oil, it is liters. So when we issue it, we issuing a can which has 5 liters.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's how we pushing it. So we push it a 5 liters can to the production, but we only consuming 2 liters.
Right.
So the remaining 3 liters, how do we put it back to the inventory?
Yeah, actually, in terms of like oil, grease kind of items, what they do, they like expense out. Those kind of items treat it as expense items. Like consume.
Okay. They just issue it and then they will consume it along with the production, isn't it?
Right. But also, you also need to capture that cost into your work order, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, what they do, there is a supply type called bulk. Okay. This item is part of your bills of material. But it will not create transaction for each completion of work order. You already consuming physically because you expensed out, you already issued to the production, they keep using. In terms of cost, it is very less, but still your work order has to be calculated, their work order based on your requirement. You will say like 0.02 milliliters for one work order. So it will be divided into each quantity. So it will consume, but it will not create any transaction in the system. But still it is there in work definition because it has to carry forward to our costing.
Okay.
When I said issue of steel, like item like stainless steel, and that is a costly item, and also you can measure it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is the case. They will cut it and they will take for each work definition based on BOM created. And if there is any pending quantities there, they will return back to the stores. So stores people issue it to the later work orders.
Okay.
Okay. And same way like resource charges. When you do the resource transactions, all resources and its cost will be charged to the work orders.
Okay.
Okay. Still like here talking about like user interface. Sometimes mass even you can have you can do the bulk transactions also in the system.
Okay, I want to tell you something. If you want to take a break, because you're doing a lot of talking and I'm just listening, so it's easier for me. But if you want to take a break, like 5-10 minutes to have a tea or something, please go ahead. So we can stop it and come back. That's fine.
Yeah, no problem. Let us continue and we can complete these slides. Maybe some more.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm happy to sit for another 3 hours. I will sit and listen. It's interesting, actually.
Right. So let us finish this manufacturing cycle theoretically, and we can close for the day. And tomorrow onwards, we can get into the system and start creating the items.
Sure.
And meanwhile, if you want to take any example and all, you can take and give it to me. Like what is the finished goods for your better understanding, and what should be our components and all. So those items only will start creating in the system.
Yeah, the reason I didn't ask from my real project side is because that's the only exposure I have. I want to visualize things differently.
Right.
Because every project will not be the same. So that's why I'm trying to follow you rather than me asking questions based on my experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And the typical material transaction form will looks like this, and select each operation sequence, and then the components will be there, and click on save. It will show you on confirmation message. It means your transactions happen. If you look at your material transaction screen, all these transactions will be printed in the system.
Okay.
And this is about resource transactions. Resource transactions, material transactions, most of the time will be automatically only, because every time go to work order and do all those things manually, nobody will do. Only if your production cycle is in a days, they will do manually. Because if you say ship build or bus build or something, what we can say, like any constructing building, all those things, it goes months together, but at the end of the month you need to close, right? At least partially you need to know that where this product is there till this time, how much we spent, okay, how much we supposed to, all those things will happen. At the time they do manually.
Yeah.
Okay. And finally, like this is a production transaction history shows how many work orders are there, how many completed, and what all the pending are there, how many scheduled for coming days are like that, days and all.
Okay.
Finally, once you completed all transactions in manufacturing, you have to complete this step. This has to be done by maybe production team or costing team, whoever. Like it is a system task only. Just go to the task and transfer transaction from production to costing.
Okay.
It's a simple request only. That you no need to select any operation, work center, or work order, or something like that. Whatever completed work orders are there, it will be transferred to the costing. Now you can able to see all cost transactions in your costing application.
Okay.
Okay. So this is what typical manufacturing cycle completely. I think you are aware of business hierarchy, you know, right? I mean, business unit hierarchy.
Yeah, because I've taken some classes with Krishna, so on the
Okay.
SCM. So I'm looking through his enterprise structure as well. So I'm a little bit, not much, but I am a little bit aware about the structure.
Okay. We will start from our organization level only.
Okay.
So using the predefined organization, and we'll start manufacturing it.
Okay.
Okay, so let us define our own items and simple structure, like maybe 3 components. I can say 1 finished good, 1 subassembly, and 3 components, like that we will do it. And let me take my examples and we'll start look at it. You can practice with your examples later. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And the other thing I want to ask is, yesterday we discussed about the creating an item, and you mentioned about some 30 templates. Is that template available in Oracle, or
Yeah, predefined templates are available in the system. Still, you can customize the templates.
Okay, is that under the product information, or because
It is in product information. Yeah, it is in product information.
So
Go to root item class. Okay, where you can see the templates tab.
Okay, 1 second. So if we under offerings, which will be the offering? Product information or innovation?
Yeah, product information.
And let me just close something. So on the right hand side is the root item tab, task tab. Okay, I need to close it. I'll have a look. That's fine. Don't worry. Anyway, we'll come to that anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I think we can close here for today.
Sure.
So tomorrow we'll start creating the items.
What time you want me to be tomorrow?
Yeah, let us plan it the same time, or if it is the pre-pone, I'll let you know.
Okay, let's stick for the same time now. 4 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right then.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Tom.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You.
Bye-bye.
Bye.